we have a really interesting guest coming up shortly. At the moment, a lot of people probably struggling. It's not been easy. I think we can also relate to it to some extent, where the last few years particularly, you kind of notice, you go shopping and things seem to be going up all the time. The bills seem to be going up all the time, and obviously it's going to be a concern for a lot of people, month by month. But let's sort of find out more information. What can we do? Is there anything we can do going forward? So, Alice B., welcome to the show. Great to have you on board. Can you give us a bit of a rundown on what the research, the report tells us, please, Alice?
Yes, I will. So this is, makes for fairly gloomy reading, but this was a report into some research done by uswitch.com, which is a price comparison site, and it's found that really the UK is in a bills crisis. So over 7 million Brits are spending more over the course of a month than they are earning. And that's not just going out and partying, that's on essentials. Heating, food, car, utility bills, and medicines. By the time they're paid off, they're in a negative debt. They're in debt in their bank account. A further 10.5 million are just about scraping even. So we've seen our disposable income has dropped, and now we're finding that our bills have gone up to the extent that really we just can't pay and make it work at the end of every month. So we're looking at actually, we've got rid of some discretionary spend. We're now beginning to see that people are actually cutting back on their essential spend. So 27% of people are consciously trying to reduce their energy bills, for example. And they might be doing that by turning the heating down or not having the heating on for a week where it's slightly more mild. But actually there is something that frustratingly, I want to scream from the rooftops, we could all be doing. And as a nation, we are not good at doing it. And that is switching our tariffs, be it landline, broadband, mobile, and energy. Have you switched your tariff, Jimmy?
I have, actually. No, you're right. And not up until the last few years is something that I probably wouldn't consider doing. It's just convenient to sort of stay with the broadband you're with, stay with the phone you're with, stay with the electricity energy that you're with. But the last few years or so, I have to admit, I have done it myself. And you can save a lot, phone as well. Before, just out of convenience, I used to think, for the sake of a little bit here or there, not that obviously sort of like, I'm inundated with money, good to say, but I didn't think it was going to be, I always used to think the hassle to change and what I get out of it, but you get some good deals. I saved a lot on my phone, a huge amount of money on my phone. I saved a lot on my energy bill as well, and I keep an eye out as well, Jimmy. because the trouble is they can creep back up again. So it's like, well, I've got to change again sometimes, and we don't want to have to do that, but what are the options really?
Well, it's interesting because you used two words there. One is the hassle, and also you referred to, it was for small amounts of money. And now, you're right, it's significant. So, it's not a hassle anymore. We do have, and this is important for consumers, we do have ways of switching that makes it so easy. In fact, I realized my energy contract, and this isn't a lie because I'm talking to you, this is absolutely true. My energy contract ran out on the 30th of September. And at 4:30 this morning, I decided to switch it. I was sitting up in bed. I knew I'd be talking about this subject today. And I thought, oh my goodness, I just check your own. So I checked mine. My husband was asleep next to me. And it took me 4.5 minutes to switch tariffs with a projected saving over the next year of some £236. I mean, that's ridiculous. It was so easy. All I had to find, and I had it in my emails, was what tariff I was already on, and it was something like fixed 12 green or something like that. So I have to put that in, and then on that bill, it also told me how much I use over the course of a year, obviously slightly estimated. So I had to put that in as well, and that was it. That's all I needed to do. And within seconds, I had a choice of really, really reduced tariffs. And Jimmy, it's a really good time to do it now because they analyse, the powers that be that are analysing the price, the cost of wholesale energy, that comes to an end on, I think it's the 17th of the month. So they have done that, they've analysed, and now these fixed rates are out there for us to get and to fix ourselves onto before potentially energy starts rising again next spring. So it's really important that you do it. And 4.5 minutes of your time, significant savings.
No, absolutely. I think so. I think it certainly worked for me, and I'm sure a lot of people listening in the same thing. And in terms of like USwitch, what does it cover, Alice? I mean, obviously, sort of bills. If I look at my bank statement, there's like endless sort of bills going everywhere. What are the sort of I mean, I know there's the phone. I know there's the you obviously mentioned the phone there, the electricity, the energy. What else can you get? What's available on USwitch as well?
I think it's worth looking at landline and broadband deals. 36% of people who have a landline and broadband bundle are out of contract. So if you're in a contract, sometimes you have to pay a fee to get out. And 36% of people are actually out of contract. So there's no fee. They could switch immediately. And the Ofcom have got in place this one-touch switch system, which means that it's not like the old days. You have to give up your router, wait for a router to come, have a couple of days waiting for that handover. It is seamless, and if it doesn't happen seamlessly, you get compensation. And there's companies like Virgin Media, EE and Sky are currently offering switching incentives, like credit up to £200 on your account. So it's really worth looking at that. So I would say, because there's a bigger saving probably there, start with your landline and broadband, then do your energy, and then have a look at your mobile contract. Because if you're just coasting along on a standard tariff, you're probably paying way, way more than you need to. You could probably save over £300 just by getting a SIM-only contract. If you've already got your handset, you've paid for that over the last couple of years, then switch to a SIM only. You'll make so much money over the next year.
Absolutely. And I think as well as that, it gives you like negotiation power. I mean, I had my phone the last time I renewed my phone. It's like I sort of looked at what was available, and I went back to my provider and said, if you can't match this, I'm gone, because I'm just paying way too much. It's just not on. I've been a loyal customer for many, many years. And you kind of speak to other people who like you, and you start to realise, well, why am I paying so much more than everybody else, type thing? And by doing that, I went back to them and said, look, if you can't match this, I'm off. But in the past, it was like he says, it's like in the past it was a bit more sort of tricky to sort of change, but now it's sort of become so much easier. It gives you a bit of leverage too, to say, well, I can understand, a bit here, but not the sort of differences sometimes that come up. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I honestly don't know how they get away with it, to be fair, to sort of like, how some people can get on a contract that's so much better than somebody else. It's not on really, Alice, It's not. Well, I think what's interesting is that you look at the deals that you'll find if you go onto the USwitch platform, they've negotiated them. So you're not going to find them on your own. You'll find them by going through USwitch, because they've negotiated these good deals, and because you're bringing customers to the energy companies, they're happy to do that. So you won't find those by doing it yourself. So this is, a way of actually making it easier for yourself and getting a better deal. I mean, of course, shop around across the comparison sites if you want to, but you will find that you're going to make a big saving. Absolutely. And if people are sort of like haven't heard of it before, I'm guessing a lot of people may have heard of it, but there might be people who haven't heard of USwitch before. Can they look at the report? Is there anywhere they can look to find more information, to have a look anyway? They might sort of think, okay,
yes. I would go on to USwitch, which is the letter U, switch.com, and have a look. And you're not going to be plunged into anything scary. You can literally go through the process, and as I say, it took me 4.5 minutes. You can go through the process and see what you would be saving. And actually, within 15 minutes of me doing that this morning, I had an email from my outgoing energy supplier saying, "Hey, come back, we'll match it." So there's nothing like walking away to get somebody to match it. But too late. I'd already switched.
Absolutely. So basically, they just sort of log on to USwitch, and then I'm sure like the steps will be on there, like the various.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You can look at the different areas that it throws up options of. Okay, what do you want to look at today? Do you want to look at internet? Do you want to look at your broadband? Do you want to look at your mobile contract? And it will take you through the various things. And it honestly couldn't be easier.
Yeah, and absolutely. I have to admit, Alice, it's been a part of what I do now periodically. It's like, it never used to be, but at least annually I'll have a look and see, what's going on type thing. It's like one of them really, just, the significant amounts of money. It's not, a few pound here and there. It's a lot of money to be saved, really.
It is. And if you do it through USwitch, you'll get a reminder when your contract's coming up. Coming to an end.
Absolutely,
so that's a little nudge to do it again. But good. I'm glad I'm preaching to the converted. Now we've just got to get the rest of the country to do it.
Absolutely. No, but that's the thing. I mean, it is as if more people do it, then the better it is for everybody, really, because the competition is the key, isn't it? Because it's very unlikely you're going to get a call from your provider, whoever it is, whether it's phone, broadband, or energy, and say, you know what, we're gonna lower your bill for whatever reason type thing, unless you're sort of proactive. Generally speaking, in my experience, nothing gets done. It's like if you don't at least have a look around, then it's very unlikely they're going to get in touch and say, well, you know what, we're going to halve your bill type thing. It just doesn't happen. Yeah.
And why would you not get bargains when all your neighbours or your work colleagues, they're all getting bargains? So why would you not go and get them one for yourself?
Exactly. But that's really informative, Alice, and good. Some really informative information there.
Good.
I found it really interesting as well. So if one person sort of has a look and makes a change, all the better for them. Then that's what it's all about. Thanks for your time, Alice.
Brilliant.
Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely to speak to you, Jimmy.
Bye.